Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy Part 16. It's been a couple of weeks since our last time, as I was doing some extra content. But last time we finished a level 20 Lancers Guild quest, and so we are now free to do our next dungeon that Gridania asked us to do, and that is to clear out the Tam Tara Deepcroft from cultists that have taken it over. So we are in Limsa Lominsa. It is currently decorated for, now on Earth we call it Easter, but there's two holidays that in games being celebrated, Hatching Tide and Little Ladies Day. Those events are going until April 1st. You don't necessarily have to be in Gridania or at Tam Tara Deepcroft to access the next dungeon. We can do it from our control panel in the lower right. Click on Duty. Yeah, if you want to play with a group of friends, click on the Duty Finder. I'm going to play with a group of NPCs, so I'm going to click on Duty Support. But if you click on Duty Finder, this is the Duty Finder, and you can do leveling roulettes to help you level. That will do random random dungeons that you have unlocked. We only have 2 right now, but you simply click on the Tam Tara Deepcroft and click Join. Then you'll enter a queue to get that will automatically group you with another set of players. But for the purpose of recording, I'm going to go through Duty Support. Go with a group of NPCs, but this time, let's see how we fare going as a tank. So we switched from the Lancer to the Marauder, and that's one thing that about Final Fantasy XIV you can do. You're not tied to a class. You can change your combat class to whatever option you wish, provided that you meet the criteria to unlock that class. So let's get started. And Tam Tara Deepcroft. No, not that. Duty Support, please. Yeah, Tam Tara Deepcroft and Duty Support procs right away. So while the intro plays, since we are the tank, we set the pace of the run, and it is our task to get the attention of all the mobs and keep their attention. We don't want them to be attacking the DPS or the healer. Now, when you get started, now I'm the only player, so that's the only one that's going to be showing here. But this right up here, that my cursor is circling, that is, you need this to be engaged. Your tank stance will start turned off when you go into a dungeon. Make sure you turn it on. Otherwise, the other players here are going to be getting enmity and are not going to be able to keep it. And each tank class is named differently, but tank stance, as it's universally known, when it's on, that will allow you to keep the attention of everyone. And usually, when you're playing a group of players, you want to do a huge pull. So I can actually run off, and they'll run after me. So I can go over here, and I can actually do a bunch of people at once. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind of is take a look at your health and make sure that the healer can't keep up. If the healer is having problems keeping you over half full, then you may want to grab smaller groups. The healer does not have to keep you at full health. They just need to they just need to make sure that, you're not, the healer needs to keep your health positive. And if you notice that your health is steadily declining or going under half a lot and you're pulling big groups, you may just want to pull smaller groups, especially if it's a new healer. If you are a new tank, go into chat and simply just say, hey, new tank, and let the group know. So that way, if you're not doing things that people would expect you to know right away, it's fine. And then they might even, and if players, these are NPCs, but players may also offer tips and advice. And it's good to be polite about it. And a lot of times they'll have good advice. You might meet someone who's a bit toxic, and take that with a grain of salt. But let's continue, shall we? Yeah, come over here. There we go. Now, as a tank, we will not be dealing as much damage as everyone else because our job is to be the damage sponge. But if the healer can't keep up, I've seen people do massive, they'll basically do 4 or 5 different at once. Oh, and make sure you keep line of sight with your healer so they can heal you. If you run off and run around a corner and you have a bunch of people attacking you, the healer might not be able to heal you as they can't see you. And if that has changed, simply let me know in the comments. But in the past, that was the rule. And no treasure. Oh well. Now, most people, when you're playing with a group of people, they will take the most direct route. Because we're playing with a group of NPCs, we can do a bit of exploring. Okay. Nothing of interest here. Let's keep going. All right, and this is our first boss. Make sure you face the boss away from the rest of your group. This will especially come in handy with classes that have positionals where they have to attack from the flank or from the rear to get the best damage. don't forget to pop your damage negating skills when you're pulling larger mobs. That just to give the healer an easier time. Make sure you also, on the left-hand side in the middle, the 2 red squares, that is the enemy panel. This will let you know if you have their attention. If the enemy doesn't have a red square, that means they're not paying attention to you and you need to get their attention. With tank stance on, you can simply use any attack, or you can use provoke. Anything new? Oh, we got a new helmet. Let's equip the helmet. So don't be surprised if you miss a lot of these side rooms that I'm going into when you're playing with groups. Because most people, they've done this many times, they just want to get through it in the most direct way. So that's one of the pluses for doing duty support, especially if there is a dungeon that you want to take a look around. There are other ways to do it, but this is not a bad way. And our second boss fight. And that was a level 1 limit break for the DPS. As you get into it, you will eventually get 2 options, 2 ranks of limit break. And for 8 parties, you'll get 3 levels of limit break. But depending on the class, you'll either do a lot of damage, a lot of healing, or a lot of protection. And sometimes we can get away with doing a larger pull like that. And treasure. But this guy's a thaumaturge. He does fire and ice damage. This is Lancer, who that's our other class, and that's a conjurer. He's a healer and does stone and I think wind damage. The more that thaumaturges can stay still, the better the damage they'll put out is. Okay, and our third boss fight. Okay, this is 2 stages. Okay, so false alarm. We have to deactivate that force field. Okay, let's go back the way we came. And let's see if this rosary can take down that barrier. Okay, so now we have 2 groups that we need to keep a hold of. Now, especially during this battle, you may find yourself having to use your damage resistance, but save it for special attacks if you can. Although our healer is having issues, so let's do that. This is a stun. This can't interrupt some skills. Still, it's best to get out of the way if you don't get the timing right. Okay. 1. And 2. No, there are mechanics to this fight. I haven't done this fight in a long time, so I might be rusty with this. Who summons me from the void? Okay, last boss fight. if you're not sure about mechanics, keep an eye on your compatriots, especially if you're doing duty support. Okay. And make sure you grab all ads that show up. You don't want them harassing your party, especially the healer. Notice there are more mobs coming on. So we need to immediately grab their attention. Okay, they killed that one. And that is the Tam Tara Deepcroft as a tank. Now, granted, since these is one of the really starting dungeons, the mechanics are really simple, and this is just to let you get used to the different classes and dungeons in general. Once you progress, it will get steadily, more difficult, more mechanics, sometimes more ads during boss fights, but not always. But yeah, as a tank, very simple. Eventually, I think we'll get 3 main attacks that'll chain together. But yeah, mostly just keep the attention of the mobs, keep the attention of the boss, face them away from the rest of the group so that they can take advantage of positionals, and use your damage reduction skills when you're pulling, especially when you have larger mobs. But eventually, bosses will do special attacks against the tank that does high damage called tank busters. You'll definitely need your cooldowns for that. But let's go report back to the guild. Let them know that Tam Tara Deepcroft is free of idiots. So, as we entered the duty from Lemsa, we've returned to Lemsa. So, I'm going to fast forward and see you back in the Adventurers Guild in Gridania. Okay, welcome back. As we have completed our task, let us report back to Manoon. Welcome back, Lightbringer. I am reliably informed that your foray into the Deepcroft was a success. Nor did I expect anything less. You made such a habit of succeeding that it's difficult not to take your talents for granted. Rest assured, however, Mother is impressed, even if she isn't surprised. Board Lewin asked me to pass on his thanks. I must say, it's something of a relief to be able to call upon such a capable adventurer. Sadly, Death has become an ever more common occurrence within our fraternity of late. Times being what they are, the guild is constantly inundated with petitions, and we are hard pressed to find enough hands to deal with them all. While this means no shortage of work for able souls such as yourself, it also provides ample opportunity for the inexperienced to overreach themselves, with predictable consequences, as if to illustrate the point. Avra's gone, and it's all your fault. If you hadn't taken your an age to heal him, he would still be alive. But I tried. He bolted out of rage before I could finish the spell. He shouldn't have been so hard pressed in the first place. We should have done more to lighten his burden. Bah, to hell's with this pathetic excuse for a party. I'm leaving, and it'd be too soon if I ever see your faces again. Goodbye and good riddance. I'm leaving as well. I doubt it comes as any surprise, but I never liked you. I only suffered you for your healing, but if you couldn't even do that one thing right, cruel though as it may sound, you brought this upon yourself. Oh, by the way, some parting advice. Get rid of Avra's head. Bury it, cremate it, do whatever the hells you like with it, but for God's sake, stop carrying it around. It's just get rid of it, all right? Wait, don't leave me alone, please. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Things like this have become all too common. That makes a dozen times in half as many days. Now, you see why I'm grateful for adventures of your experience. I can send women like you on a mission without worrying that you might not return. Well, not so much at any rate. Speaking of missions, I would entrust you with another. About a bell ago, I received a message from my counterpart in Uldal. She seeks the services of a reliable adventurer, and you are nothing if not reliable. If you think you might be interested in this task, say the word, and I will be glad to share the details with you. So, in case you're wondering, that group that had the misfortune was not the group that we met after clearing Sestasha. I actually was curious about that. I took one of my previous recordings, but no, it's a different group. So, you're not averse to taking a little trip. Wonderful. This is Call of the Desert. As I mentioned earlier, the request comes to us from the Adventurers Guild in Uldal. Once you arrive, seek out Mamadi, the proprietress of the Quicksand. Think of her as the Sultan's version of myself. Chances are she'll send you into the midst of danger, but I have every confidence that you will pull through unscathed. Now, off you go, Lightbringer, and good luck. Okay, let's redo this here. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode, folks. Next time we will travel to Uldal and we'll see what Mamadi, the proprietress of the Uldal Adventurers Guild, what request she has for us. But until then, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the Final Fantasy Extra that I have planned here, where we'll go through and see the guilds and class options that Gridania has to offer. And until then, take care and have a great day.